Hi, Neta, and welcome to Entrepreneurcast. It's so great to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here, Svietlana.
So, Neta, before we get going with the business side of things, tell us a little bit about who are you outside of your business and what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Okay, so I live in Canada, and I have 2 kids and a husband. And what do I like to do? I work most of the time. When I don't work, I am just with my family. We love being home all the time. We love the great indoors, as my husband calls it. And I like watching good shows and taking naps. That's my big thing. I sleep very little at night, and then a nap midday is my favorite thing, I would say.
Amazing. So, Neta, what about your business? Tell us all about it and what inspired you to start it?
Okay, so I guess I've never worked for anyone else. So I think that's one point to make clear. So I've always been an entrepreneur since I was really a teenager. I used to sew. My first business, I made like pants and stuff for my friends when I was 17. And so that was my first business. But then in my early 20s, I really started my entrepreneurial journey. I've done a lot of things. Like I said, I never worked for anyone else. So I've had crazy businesses. We lived in Costa Rica for 5 years. We built a hotel in the middle of the jungle. We ended up selling it. I had all kinds of online businesses. One of the biggest and most fun ones that I had, it was custom wedding dresses for brides in the UK, actually. And yeah, so they were made in an amazing studio in China, custom made, sent directly to brides in the UK. And that was my first big online business. And that was all SEO based. So we were ranked very high in the UK. That's why it ended up being in the UK. And then I just evolved with all kinds of businesses, and I tried all kinds of things. About 6 years ago, I started with a good friend business for cloth diapers called Real Nappies in the UK, I think. And so that's an online business as far as marketing, and we don't have a store or anything, but we have a brand, and we have our own a production team, and they make them and we sell them in North America. We're pretty big in North America, I would say, among the medium-sized companies. And that's called Global Cloth Diapers, and I've had that for 6 years. But my real passion has always been online. And about a year ago, I started my most exciting and successful business to date, called No Hassle Website. And what I've done with that, it's really what it sounds. I tried to to create a solution for online entrepreneurs who want to have a website, but one of the biggest challenges is that it's either tech, they're afraid of the tech, or money, or time, or the combination. So I wanted to create a solution that solves all of these things. And at the same time, I wasn't going to invent something. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a designer. What I wanted to do is take existing platforms and integrate all of them and put in the marketing aspect as well, which, designers don't do. So, opt-ins and Facebook pixels and everything you need in one solution. So that was my vision. And I came up with it last February. And within about 3 weeks, I had my product ready. And it just took off as soon as I launched it, really. It was amazing. I've never had anything like that. So that's basically what I did.
Incredible. And what would you say inspired you to start your website business? You said
So that's specifically, there was two things that inspired me. About a year and a half ago, I started working with a a local group in my hometown here in Barrie, Ontario in Canada, local entrepreneurs that wanted, so these are people that had local businesses and wanted to go online and didn't know where to start. So because I've been doing online businesses for the last 14 years now, I've done it all. Believe me, I've done it all. So because of that, a lot of people often come to me and ask me questions. So I had a friend who approached me and she said, oh, I have a networking group in town. Why don't you come to us? So I started working with this local group, and I had a whole like marketing plan for them. I had like a 4-week program. And when we reached the website stage, I had a plan for them, and WordPress, and get a theme and everything, and they could follow the instructions, they could do it, but that's where it stopped. Like each of them was a different issue, but it was the biggest hurdle. They could get the Facebook ads, the local Facebook ads, they could get the opt-in newsletter, all of these things, they got that, but actually putting it on a website and building that. So even if they had the budget for a designer, that wouldn't have helped them, because they need to be active and update and do all of that. And also they didn't want to get into, 8 weeks of working with a designer, figuring out what they want. It was too much. And also what I found, things that I never thought about, because I've built so many websites in the last 14 years, I didn't appreciate the challenge for other people that are not into tech stuff. What happened was that they could have the website, but then they didn't know, okay, so how does that connect to the newsletter? And what happens when people put their name in the opt-in? What happens then? And how do I put the Facebook pixel? The Facebook pixel kills everyone. That's like, that's the killer of all online marketing, in my opinion. So I really remember it. It was last February, and I was like, you know what? What if someone came up with a website that already had everything, and people just had to plug in their content and just plug in their Facebook ID number. They don't need to know anything about pixels. Just grab your number. And I was like, okay, that person should be me probably. So yeah, so that's how that started. And at the same time, I'm very involved in online groups on Facebook, and I found myself always answering the same questions about WordPress. How do you install this? How do you integrate that? I'm like, seriously, someone should come up with a solution for this. So that's how I started the business.
I love the story, especially like when, somebody should come up with it. Should be me.
Yeah, it's I would say it's typical for me to find the problem and then not just say, okay, what are we going to do about it, but actually resolve it. That's how I started the cloth diaper business, by the way. So I cloth diapered my first baby, and she's almost 10 years old now. I cloth diapered her, and when my son was born 2.5 years later, my good friend Sarah, my business partner, and I were like, oh, I wish the diaper had this also, and I wish they did it like this. And then I'm like, we should do it. And that's how we started, and we designed it the perfect cloth diaper the way we wanted it. And because I already had connections from the wedding dresses business in China, that's how we started. I already had production in China, so they've never heard of cloth diapers before, but our team started working on cloth diapers, and that's how. And I would say that all my businesses have that in common. Yeah, like finding the problem, then saying, I'll find a solution. I also did it with Costa Rica. And I would say my business in Costa Rica, we grew the hotel business by creating packages to Costa Rica, online packages to Costa Rica, because again, people wanted to come to the hotel, but they were asking me, where do we go from here? What about tours? Or should I rent a car? What other hotels? What about volcanoes should we go to? So I'm like, I'll create a package for you. And that's how that grew. So
wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it.
I love it too.
So Neta, between your family life with your 2 wonderful kids and a husband and your 2 businesses, What would you say your typical day looks like?
Okay, so I my typical day starts at about 7:30 when we wake up to take the kids to prepare them for school, and the problem is that I usually go to sleep at 3 a.m. That is very, very typical. Both my husband and I, we like it's very natural. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter how much I try. It doesn't matter when I wake up. I end up going to sleep at 3, at 2 to 3 a.m. Very, very normal, almost every day. But because I have kids, I actually have to wake up at 7:30. Otherwise, I would wake up a little later. So it started 7:30. We sent the kids off at 9. I sit on this computer where I'm at now, and I work until about 1 or 2 nonstop. Just stop to eat breakfast with my husband, and then I try to take my nap. I sneak in my nap before my kids come home, and then if I can, and then I'm with my kids. We're family stuff all afternoon. And then from 10 p.m. until about 2 a.m., I work again on the computer. And then for the last hour or so, get ready to sleep. And so that's a very, very typical day. And that's 7 days a week. Even when the kids are not at school on the weekend, I try to work in the morning and then again at night. So this is a typical day for me. Yeah.
So, so Neta, throughout our entrepreneurial and business journey, we do come across a lot of challenges. What would you say was your greatest challenge, and how did you manage to overcome it?
So I should say that I've had a lot of businesses, but they've not all been successful. And even the successful ones have not always. So I'll give you an example. The hotel in Costa Rica, we really only made money when we sold it, for example. So those were years of struggling, of building it, and then getting people to come and creating all these, packages to bring people to my hotel. The same goes with the cloth diaper business. So the cloth diaper business has been successful and profitable from day one. The problem is with manufacturing is that the more you grow, the more money it sucks in, because you always have to keep up production and it's bigger and bigger. So the business has grown every year, yet, it was hard to take any salary from it for a few years. So the biggest challenge is always selling enough, I'm going to say, which ties into marketing. But the interesting thing that I found with the No Hassle website business is, and the way I describe it is at a critical mass. I've hit the critical mass with No Hassle that challenge has almost disappeared. And it's like magic. I don't want to sound like, it's just people are just ordering out of, but it's kind of like that. Once it launched and people started buying it, it's just the word of mouth and the reputation and the authority. It's like everything they say, the gurus. It just, everything came together really, really quickly and very powerful. It's like, I'm telling you, it's a critical mass. It's until you reach the critical mass. That is the big challenge in all businesses. So you grow, but it's always a struggle. And if you don't do the marketing, you don't get results. That has been my challenge for many, many years. And with No Hassle, I'm trying to figure out what happened there. So I think it was an accumulation of things and a solution that is just, no one has that solution. And still, I'm quite surprised. Not that I think that they would compete with me, because I think I have so much more than just the product itself. My customer service has always been my strong suit in all my businesses. And that's how I built all my businesses over time. But no one has, people ask me, but there's WordPress, there's Wix, there's Squarespace. None of them offer what I offer because they don't have the integration. People are still in square one. They actually have to build their website. They actually have to figure out how to put everything together, and no single company puts everything together and creates that. And I do have a passion for teaching and instructing. That's something that I discovered years ago during my military service, which is another story altogether. And so I believe that part of the success of No Hassle is people, and I get a lot of positive feedback about my instructions, my video tutorials. People, they can be non-techies, have fear of tech, but they just need to follow my instructions and they get it done. And it's very, very empowering. So I'm not sure what is so different about No Hassle, but I think it was a combination. I would say that my very intensive involvement in the last couple of years with online entrepreneurial groups, a few groups that I like, it changes as the group changes as well. That with my idea at the same time was a winning combination. But years before was the huge challenge leading to this. So
incredible.
Yeah.
So it's not like usually, people like to sell it like, oh, overnight success, da 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 da. It never happens, does it?
No, it's overnight success after about 13 years. And I mean 13 years of sleeping 4 hours a night, struggling, making less money than I would minimum wage here in Canada, 100%. I could have worked in the local Tim Hortons, that's a big chain here in Canada, and I would have made more money for the last 13 years, for sure. So, but for me, there was never a choice. I was not going to work for anyone else. So we made our decisions as a family. It's not about, we're not going to get into that, but people make a lot more money, made a lot more money than I did during these years. Friends, family, salaries, 2 people working outside of the house, making good salary. They did not live the lifestyle, in my opinion, that we live because of choices we've made, my husband and I, about how to live our family. So for us, travel is more important. And we could do that because my husband is an artist. So we both work at home. We have flexibility. So with the little money we made, we did what we wanted. So I would not change that. And I never wanted, to work for anyone else. So it was just the price I paid, struggling all these years, and now it all came together. But really, it's not only that. My experience came, what I do now is because of the 13 years. It's not just the struggle. It's everything I know is because of all the marketing and building websites in the last, I think my first HTML website was in 1998, I think, something like that. So I've been around. I'm older than I look.
So Neta, we talked about your challenges, and there were a few, but on the bright side of things, what would you say was your greatest success?
Yeah, so 100% the No Hassle website is my biggest success. It's also, because I also do production, there is no production here. I will tell you something that I did, and I consider No Hassle a huge success on that level as well. And my first business, my big business, the hotel in Costa Rica, it was not sustainable. So I use that term a lot when it comes to your entrepreneurial businesses. You need a long-term plan. It has to be sustainable. Sustainable means that you can do it when you're growing your family. You can do it on your own for a long time and survive before you can bring in help. And it's something that you can do for years and will not just, be too much. So the hotel was 24 hours a day, 365. It's just too much. You can't do it forever. So that's why we had to eventually sell. We wanted to start a family and things like that. So the cloth diapers business is now much more sustainable in many ways because we brought people in and we have people working for us. So I do much less than I did a couple of years ago, but it's hard because it's actual production and logistics and international logistics. Don't ask. No Hassle is a huge success for me because it's like the perfect business. It is a digital product, but it's not like a course, it's not really a software per se. It does require a lot of customer service and support. I would say tech support, helping. I have a very active group of clients, of people, no hasslers, I call them, that bought the No Hassle website, or I have some other products under this brand now. And so it's a daily support, but it's easy. It's just, it's not stressful. I'm online, I answer questions, I do some tutorials. I like to shoot videos, tutorials to explain things. People like it. And we have a big database of resources now in our group. And it's easy like that. So that's, for me, is a huge success. And at the same time, it's also bringing me the most money than any other business. So I would say definitely this business.
So it's basically a no hassle website for the client and no hassle business for you.
Yes, yes, it's part of my philosophy. Yes. Yes.
And so Neta, you obviously over the years came up with a lot of interesting ideas. So where would you say you come up with your best ideas?
Where physically, like in the shower, you mean, for example? So I know where so I used to breastfeed my babies for years, 5 years. So that time before they went to sleep, I got the best ideas. And really, but I stopped. So my no hassle idea didn't come then, but my kids are almost 10 and 7. And we don't just say good night and close the door. No. We stay in the room until they fall asleep. We still do it, my husband and I. And that quiet time has brought my best ideas, really, repeatedly. It's just, no distractions, just quiet, letting the kids fall asleep. So all my good ideas come then, actually. That's when it happens. It's like meditation a little bit, I think.
So, you are quite an inspiration yourself. You've been in the business for a long time. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who look up to you and you inspire them. But you yourself, Neta, do you have any so-called personal heroes or people that inspire you?
So I think there are people, that I know personally or family, and then there is business related stuff. I am not, because I'm online already so much, I do not actually follow a lot of people. I do not have a lot of friends on Facebook. Only people that I know, personal friends and family friends on Facebook. I don't like all of that. There are names, people throw out names. I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. And apparently they're big names, in the industry. I'm not in a lot of groups at all. So I keep that pretty tight. And I would say 100% someone that I would say in business, Bushra Azar from the 60-Second Persuasion. 100%, I think she's the most amazing woman online that I know now. We're now friends and work together, but it started by being very inspired by what she has done, and her capacity of producing content and stuff is just unbelievable. And I can relate to that, because I'm a no excuses kind of girl. I work until 3 a.m. so I get things done. There are no excuses. I don't care. I just, I see people drag things for months and months. And I'm like, seriously, you could have done it like last year. What's going on? And so she's very much like that, and just so smart and so funny and unique. So definitely Bushra Azar is my inspiration online. And offline, my mom, who passed away a few years ago, but she was, I say amazing. She was something else. And she's the most amazing woman that I will ever meet, I'm sure. And so my mom was an inspiration on many, many levels. My father passed away. It sounds like a sad story. My father passed away when I was very young. So my mother was basically a single mom, and raised my brother and I. And she was just extremely intelligent, very special, a writer, human rights activist, not your typical mom kind of thing. And she let us do everything and always supported us. So yeah, I don't want to get into all kinds of things, but everything I did was because I knew I could do it because of my mom. So those are the
Love
two
it.
people.
Incredible. So Neta, you have years of experience.
I do. I've done it.
Years of knowledge and wisdom. So out of your experience, knowledge, and wisdom, would you share with us your top 3 tips and strategies to drive the business and life forward for any entrepreneur who listens to us today?
Okay, 3. Let me think.
It can always be more.
Yeah, no, I want to. I think what I just mentioned, the no excuses. I think people. I have a thought. I'll just tell you. I watched La La Land, the movie. I love movies, and I watched it. I don't know if you've watched it, and it was just so magical, and everything I love about film and movies. I was just, I went out of the theater and was like, I can't believe someone did it. And that someone is 31 years old, and he wrote the movie and directed it. And I came out of the movie, and my friend and Sarah, my business partner, we went to see it together. And I told her, can you believe it? Some people can make that kind of magic and do those things. And he's just 31 and he wrote it and directed it. How is it possible? And then and then there are people that can't make spaghetti. So, be the people that can make La La Land, not the people that can't make spaghetti. I don't know if it sounds strange, but this is what I aspire to be. And people that, I don't claim to be as talented as the director of La La Land, but that kind of grit and working hard and no excuses and just doing things. People procrastinate so much and think about what they should do and what they could do, and they're afraid of things. And really, I'm not like that. And I think that is the big difference. I work, and even if it fails, so what? You know how many businesses I've had that failed? I've learned, and it brought me here. And I don't mean it in a spiritual way. I'm just saying this is life. There are no guarantees. I work, I come up with an idea, I create it, I work as hard as I can. Whatever comes out of it, I move on and I learn. And with no hassle, this is a business I'm going to have for years, I have no doubt. But that's not the end of all businesses. I have other ideas and things I want to do. So I would say that it's not giving up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying work for it. It's not overnight. It's not magic. You actually have to do stuff. So that's my number 1. Just do, be active. I'm very proactive. I cannot, when I feel down or when something is not going the way I want, I can only handle it for about 6 hours. I then move to active mode. I cannot just wait for things to happen. I cannot just hope for the best. It's not my style, and I recommend that approach. So that's number 1. Number 2, yes, I'm going to say that all my businesses were unique and really unique. So you can be unique in 2 ways. One is come out with a completely new thing, product invention. That's one way to do it. But that's not the only way to do it. Another way to do it is to take something that exists, really, really understand what the problem is or why everyone else is doing just that and it's not enough, and tweaking it and figuring out how to make it your own. I see so many businesses that are the same. Really, I'm asking myself, why would someone come to you? You need to work so hard to differentiate yourself, amongst others, and you can't really, so it starts being like bullshit stuff. You have to come up with things and say things that are really not there, and then you're not authentic. And again, I don't want to sound like new age. That's not where I'm coming to that, and it's not, but you can't just manifest, just do it actually, and be unique, and then it will happen. Okay, so all my businesses have been unique in some way. And even, you know, cloth diapers, we made something very unique. We're not like the other cloth diapers. We have a different philosophy about how to approach this world of cloth diapering, and we have very unique prints, and we can talk about that. So when people are searching for cloth diapers and they land on our website, they see why we're different. It's not just the regular thing. You save money, you save the environment. That everyone does that. That's not enough, right? So I would say being unique, same with Costa Rica, and same with No Hassle. I tell people, guys, you can build it. Get, you know, WordPress, get Divi, which is what I use, the theme and the page builder. Use, you know, install Bloom to connect to your opt-in. Put in the Facebook pixel. It's all out there. I'm not, you know, but putting it together and presenting it like that, that was what was unique. So I would say it's so hard to stand out when you don't have something special. Make it special somehow, find a way. So that would be number 2. Let me think, what is number 3? I'm not a creative person. No, I should not say I'm not creative. I'm not artistic in any way, but I am creative. And there's a lot of room for creativity in online businesses and entrepreneur. And I think people forget that. They try to copy what other people are doing. So there's the element of your business that needs to be unique, but then just you need to be unique. Like, you need to do things differently. Your creativity needs to come out. So that part shines, and people, it resonates with the right people when you're doing the same. I know people say it, but it's true. If you're like everyone else, if you're saying the same things, you're talking to no one, you're resonating with no one. You have to bring something special out, and don't be afraid to bring your weirdness or your accent or all these things that people sometimes, you know, feel that it's some kind of disadvantage. That's probably, you know, your biggest advantage. If you're different in some way, bring it, make it shine in your business, because otherwise people really won't see any difference between you and someone else that's offering the same service. So those would be the 3 things, I think.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Neta. And also, throughout your business journey, did you come across any kind of resources, you know, that helped you within your business? It could be techie or non-techie. Just because I know that you're, you know, a web girl, I thought maybe techie will be a good thing.
Yeah, but you know, I'm not. I love tech and I enjoy it. I never feared it. This is how I know things. But I'm not like a tech nerd. Not that I'm not into tech and, you know, what's the latest. I discover and find things as I need them for my business. So I would definitely say that one of my biggest friends is Google and YouTube. So when I need to learn something, I search for it and I learn it, and I try to become an expert at it. So for example, I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, but I've done so much coding that I feel like I know a lot, because whenever I actually needed to resolve something, I learned stuff and I do that. So I would say it's not a specific resource, but believing that you can actually learn because someone already made the tutorial for you. Someone already wrote the post about exactly what you're looking for. I'm quite surprised still when I look for something and can't find an answer. I'm surprised, because if I encounter that issue, probably someone else did as well. And if that happens, then I dig deeper and I find, and I search for a forum or a support group or something to resolve that. So I would say so people know, there's Canva and there are all kinds of software. that's great. I don't have a specific one that I swear by. I just use, a lot of things. But when it comes to Google, just finding the answer, and it's often on YouTube as well, I do that often. And I don't let, sometimes people ask questions in groups that I'm in, then I think it's nice. People want to find the answer in the group, but really you could have had the answer an hour ago because just Google it, So I don't know if people are looking for the easy way but because I guess, groups today are very, very powerful, and it's great to find answers there. But for some things, you don't even, you can find an answer with Google like this. So that's my biggest resource. I'm just thinking about it. Where do I go to? I go to Google.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Neta. Neta, I do come across a lot of people who say to me that at some point in life, they came across a book that changed their life. Did you have such a book? And if you did, who was it?
So the answer is no. I did not have a book that changed my life. I used to read much, much more. And I used to read novels a lot. Like had periods that I just finished a novel every 2-3 days for months and months. I must admit that in the last couple of years, I'm going to say in the last 10 years, since my kids were born, I've read less holding books, although we go to the library as a family every 3 weeks and bring a bunch of books. But I do have a funny story about this. So I did read a book that I really enjoyed last year called 12-Week Year, the 12-Week Year. I don't know if you know it. And it's based, do you know the book?
I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, so by the way, I found it in the library, and after I found it, I saw it online a lot. You know how it happens? So it wasn't recommended to me or anything. I just found it in the productivity and whatever business area that I was looking in the library. And so the 12-week year, basically it says that it's very hard for people to have goals and accomplish them when they look at a year. A year is too long for people. So that's why New Year's resolutions go, kaput after 2 weeks, because it's psychologically very hard. You either give up really early, or you tell yourself, I'm going to do it, and you have a whole year to do it. So that's I'm just summarizing, but basically the idea is that a year is too long, yet almost every company and every person sets goals for the year. And that is very hard to follow up on and to achieve. So what this book does, it tells you need to do 12 weeks. Every 12 weeks, think about it as a full year. And 12 weeks, which is about 3 months, is easy for people. It's manageable. It's sustainable. Like we said before, it's something you can see the goal. You can work really, really hard for about 12 weeks and keep up with that. And then repeat that every after the first 12 weeks are done, you're done with these goals, you move on. And what I like about it is that it breaks it up to tactics. So the idea is you set up the goals, you go back to the tactics. What do I actually, if I want, it could be anything, by the way, personal goals, family goals, financial goals, business goals, anything you want. So for example, when I was preparing for my first launch, that's when I did the first 12-week year thing. And I did the 12 weeks, you break it up, the final goals you want to achieve at the end of the 12 weeks, and then what you're going to do every single day of the 12 weeks. You break it down to the day. And then you're basically not allowed to look at your goals. Not that you're not allowed, but what they say in the book is that people measure the goals midway of the tactics. So after 3 weeks, let's say you want to lose weight. Okay, that's easy to see. People want to lose 10 pounds or 12 pounds in 12 weeks. Okay, so if they didn't lose 3 pounds after 3 weeks, they think they failed and they stop. But in fact, you're not measuring it after 3 weeks. You need to measure it after 12 weeks, because if you planned it correctly, then at 12 weeks, you'll reach your goal. You won't reach, a third of the goal after 4 weeks. You know what I mean? So you just need to focus on the tactics, the daily things you need to do. And that's what I did, because I planned it all out. And I had an awesome launch and the most profitable 3 months of my life, probably, at one time, kind of very focused. But I also had other goals. We wanted to save money for a trip. So I said, okay, I need to put literally $166 every Friday in an account. I opened the account and then and that was it. And suddenly there was $2,500 at the end. You know what I mean? Like, very specific. So that book has been very powerful for me. I really love it. But the joke in the house is that it took me about 12 weeks to read it. So yeah, it took me, I literally had to extend it in the library 3 times or 2 or 3 times until I finished it and made the plan. And then I executed it in 12 weeks. So again, didn't change my life, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I recommend it to people. It's by Brian Moran. That's the name of the guy who wrote it. So yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Neta.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Very, very good story there. Neta, you've been in the business for a long time. You already started, achieving your, with your latest business. You've been happy. You said it's been the most profitable. So you came quite a long way. But what is next for you? What's your next big aim, dream, goal? And if there is someone potentially listening today who could help you get there, who would it be?
I'm going to throw out an answer without thinking about it too much. I'm going to say that no one, because it's not it's only me, right? I'll have to do it. If there are people on the way that I will meet, people that, can help me move forward, yes, but there's no one specific that if I only met them or if they only knew about me. Again, not my style, not the way I think. So I don't have that in my head at all, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to do everything alone, because that's not how I do it. So that's about that. But as far as my own goals, my personal and business goals always come together, because really, what am I doing my business for? There's a sense of accomplishment, and that's important, but it's only fun if I can have, fun with my family, and if we can do things that we want to do. And so specifically for our family, my husband and I would like to travel as much as possible, take our kids everywhere, move to different places for like 6 months, learn new languages. These are things that interest us. So my goals for my business is to be able to achieve that, okay? To create the business that will allow me to achieve that, both financially and in terms of sustainability and where I can be and things like that. But as far as no hassle, I don't have a specific business in mind that I'm going to do next, but no hassle is a very big umbrella. I started with a website only, no hassle website, but there's really so much more. So I've already created some sister products and byproducts of it. So one of them is I created a no hassle membership and course platform. So the same way that I built the no hassle website, I've created, my clients came to me and said, we now want to teach our own courses or do a membership site, and we need another website for that, another platform. Can you do it for us? So I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I did the same. I created the no hassle platform for that. So that was one sister product, but I have a long list of things like that I want to develop. And some that are quite challenging. Again, I'm looking at what problems and challenges entrepreneurs have, and that's where I'm coming from. So for example, people talk a lot about funnels. How do you do a funnel? So again, people get the idea of the funnel, but there's no one solution that integrates everything that will make you understand and deploy the pages that you need for it, the emails sequence that will follow, the whatever, if you're selling an online, a course or something like that, you need to host that. You need to do Facebook ads. So for example, one of my ideas I'm working on, it's quite challenging, is to create a no hassle funnel, for example, or so things like that. I have a lot of that in mind, but also I do want to have my own membership product. So I am working with a good friend. We're working on something secret, and so we're going to launch that later this year. So that's, and again, it's under the no hassle umbrella for me, and for her under her own business. And so those are the things. And what I want to achieve is, as a level of income that is quite sustainable, and I don't have to work so hard for it, so I can do all the other things. And every few months work really, really hard for a few months to launch these things and develop the business. So that's my plan for my business.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Neta, we're coming to the end of the show, but before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else you would like to share with us, or anything you would like to advise on to the listener?
I don't know if people can do it, because it may not be in their nature, but my husband, so my name is Neta Talmor. So my husband calls me Neta, tell it like it is, Talmor. And I think that is something strong in my personality and business. And I recommend people do it. It goes back to my 3 recommendations and tips for people. There's a lot of bullshit out there, a lot. And if I wanted to spend time on that and respond to people, or even just suggest different things, it would take up my entire day, because there's no end to how much, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say bullshit again. So there's so much of that. And the businesses I do are often saying in a business way, but saying what you think or what you're told is not really the way it is, or you can do it. There is an alternative. That's really what I'm saying. There is a better alternative, is what I believe in my businesses, is my philosophy. And I would recommend people look at their businesses or what they feel they want to do, and try to look at it from the side and say, okay, this is what everyone's saying, this is what everyone's doing, but let's cut the bullshit. Let's see what really is going on. How can I do it differently? What is unique? What don't I like? If you don't like something, say it. Like, that should be part of your philosophy. So I'll give you an example with no hassle. So we didn't mention that it only cost $99. That was a big thing for me, because part of my philosophy is that entrepreneurs, especially new ones, should not be spending $5,000 on anything, period. And that's all bullshit. People are charging ridiculous amount of charging for it's numbers. I don't want to say where they get these numbers from. It's thin air. It's out of nowhere. It's just the number. I've been around for many years. I remember where online products that were $500 were considered super expensive. I remember those days. And I remember, thinking, whoa, they sell for $500. I can't believe how much money they're making, right? Within the last 2-3 years, anything less than $2,000 is not considered good enough. Like, you're not pricing yourself. Oh, this is what I want to say. I know now what I want to say. You're devaluing yourself. Your time is not worth it. All kinds of cliches that I don't believe in. Someone asked me recently, what will happen when your business grows? You'll work more? I'm like, no, how can I work more? There's only 24 hours a day. I work the same no matter how much I make. And the same should go for other people. You should work as hard as you can. You don't measure your time with, is it worth $500 an hour or, $12 an hour? Those are not numbers you need to talk about. Those are not goals. Your goals should be what you want to achieve, what you want to do with the money or lifestyle that you're going to create. So just going back to that, I don't believe that all these numbers that people come up with represent them correctly, because they cannot then show up authentically with their product. And people have put this in their mind. You have to price it this way. I priced my product $99. One of the biggest challenges I had at the beginning is people couldn't believe it. I had that problem. I can't believe it. It couldn't be right. I overcame it very quickly. After the first, 20 clients, people believed it. And then they told other people that believed it. Mm-hmm. But that is part of my philosophy. And people are suddenly like, wow, this is what I can get for $99. So the only people I think that dislike me in the industry are the ones that charge $5,000 for something similar to what I do and don't even deliver that, because again, they don't offer the integration that I do, and people then depend on them very much. So that is going back to, you asked what is my last thing. My last thing is, be true to yourself, cut the bullshit, look at things as they really are, reframe everything, rethink what you're told and reframe it, and then come out with what you believe in. That's the only way you'll really be successful long term. Ta-da! That was it.
Incredible. Well, the last message from Neta is cut the bullshit.
Yes. Correct.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Neta, for anyone who would like to get in touch with you or to, follow you, get to know you, what is the way to get in touch?
Yes. So I'm going to quote Bushra Azar from before. Bushra believes in, people are always about lists and lists, build your list of subscribers. So they have all kinds of places for them to sign up all the time. You can't really sign up for anything for me, because that's not what you're going to get from me. If you want to find me, I'm on nohasslewebsite.com. There's also No Hassle page on Facebook, and that's where you will see me and find me. What Bushra says is, what you need is a list of buyers, not list of subscribers. So, I hope that if people are listening and what I do resonates with them, they think it's awesome, they're great, they can check me out, nohasslewebsite.com, and you can contact me there. You can write anything. You can look me up on Facebook. So I do not friend people, but you can send me messages, and I find the messages in the inbox. Don't worry, you don't have to do special things. I check it regularly, and by all means, people are very welcome to ask me anything, reach out, and that's the way to get to me. nohasslewebsite.com if they need me.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Svietlana. It was fun.
Fun very much. Thank you for sharing all your little tips and your story with us. It's been very exciting, and who knows, maybe one day I'll meet you in Canada. Yes, please do come. It's wonderful to visit, and even better to live here. So I hope to, and I should be in the UK soon. I hope. Oh, good. Yeah. I always have plans on going somewhere, so it's good. Okay. See you later. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.